Good afternoon to one and all present here. And I welcome you all to today's webinar. Uh, I thank you all for taking your valuable time out and being here today. We will be running a live session of the whole webinar, and thus, if you miss out something, don't worry, and you can catch it up at our YouTube channel later on. To maintain the smooth continuity of this session, I request all of you to mute your microphones and your cameras as well. In case you have any doubts, please save it for the end as we will have the question answer session at the end. And then you can type your questions in the text box on the right upper corner of your screen. Moving closer to the session, our today's webinar is based on pelvic floor rehabilitation, in specific with female healthcare that can help in conditions like urinary incontinence, organ prolapse, and others. To conduct this informative session, we have here today Dr. Nidhi Patel ma'am with more than 7 years of in-field experience. She is the founder at Physio First Clinic at Surat, where she deals with a variety of patients of all spheres. Earlier, she has worked as a senior physiotherapist at INS Hospital and Mahavir Trauma Hospital at Surat and Saifi Hospital at Mumbai. Currently, she is also actively working in many awareness projects for women healthcare and hygiene by conducting many camps, seminars, talks, and volunteering in many of the events. We are honored to have you here, ma'am. I, Dr. Purvi Shah, Assistant Professor at BITS Institute of Physiotherapy, welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of the entire BITS fraternity. So, without much allay, let's begin today's webinar with great zeal and enthusiasm. And thus, I request Dr. Nidhi ma'am to preside the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the Institute for having me today to conduct this webinar and to have a talk on a very less explored topic, we can say, that is the pelvic floor rehabilitation. In student life, I had not heard this word or this. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Should I continue?
Yes, ma'am. You can continue.
Okay. So initially, we didn't have much of the exposure regarding this topic, but because of the advancement and the awareness regarding the field of physiotherapy, today we have many of the subjects to be covered as a physio. So once a subject is a pelvic floor rehabilitation, it is connected with the gynec thing. So today I would share my knowledge regarding what is the concept and how we can utilize this concept even for our daily patients. Because frankly speaking, in our OPDs, we don't see much of the patients related to gynec condition because the awareness is very much less. Moreover, the patients which are suffering from such condition would first prefer a gynec rather than a physiotherapist. So today I will throw some light that how important a physiotherapist is in this field, and with our hands, or we can say with our skills, we can produce good results in this field also. So can you start the slide, please? As the name suggests, the pelvic floor rehabilitation means it involves the pelvic area. As we can see, the pelvis consists of the two bones, iliac bones, as well as the sacrum and the sacroiliac joints. And in the front, that is the symphysis pubis. So, if we see virtually, we can see that it is the shape of the basket, where laterally it is supported by the bones. Superiorly, the organ will provide the support. But inferiorly, we can see here that there is a very hollow part. So, this hollow part is covered by the muscles. Now, whenever a word muscles comes into picture, there is a role of a physiotherapist. So, in this skills also, training and exercise of this muscle is done by a physical therapist. As we can see that the muscles beneath here does not have any further bony support. So, these muscles tend to go under weakness very easily. Can you change the slide, please? This is the side view. As we can see the pink band here, they are the pelvic floor muscle. The three important organs that sits in the pelvic cavity are from front to behind if we go. It is the urinary bladder, the vagina and the uterus, and the anal canal. So, the pelvic floor muscle plays a very much important role in controlling the functions of all the three systems. As we can say, it covers all the three major systems of our body. That we can see the urinary system, the reproductive system, and the digestive system. This is the side view. The pink thing here in the first picture are the muscles. They are the pelvic floor muscles. Now, let us learn something about, we can say like a history, how the pelvic floor muscle came into picture and how it became more important for us. Change the slide. So, as we know that initially when the humans were there, our ancestors were ape, right? So, they used to walk on their four legs. So, according to that, the God has given us a very good abdominal muscle support because the center of gravity would pass straight from the abdomen. So, in order to hold the organs in its position, we have a good abdominal corset. We have transverse muscles, oblique muscles, then rectus muscles. So all the muscles are very much perfectly overwrapped around each other in order to provide the proper support. But now, as the human came into picture, what has happened that the human started to walk in a upright position. As the body had become upright, the center of gravity has also been shifted. So now the center of gravity is falling vertically downward toward the pelvic floor muscle. But as we saw in the earlier slide, the muscles are very perfectly arranged. They are not overlapped as compared to that of our abdominal corset. So initially these muscles were not meant to take the whole of the weight of the body. But now it is bearing the weight of whole of the body. So as compared to abdominal muscle, already the muscles are very much weak. Next slide. So now we will talk about the function. What function does the pelvic floor muscle? What is the importance of this muscle? As we saw earlier that it controls all the three systems of our body. So according to that, it has the control over the urinary continence, means voiding of the urine, then removal of the stool because rectum part is controlled, opening is controlled by the pelvic floor muscle. There is a uterus and the vagina. So it will have a major role during pregnancy, childbirth. It has an important role in sexual function. The muscles, they provide the stability to the pelvis. So it will provide us pelvic stability. Can you move to slide 2? For the lumbar stability, next one. For the lumbar stability, we can see that the muscles are attached toward the tailbone. So hence, it has an important role in the lumbar stability, and pelvic floor muscles are very much important to train during the low back pain. We will see that in the detail. Shift and breathing. Pelvic floor muscle also plays an important role in the breathing because the muscles are works in direct relation with each other. We will see that in detail. Now, these are the muscles and we talked about the function. Now, let us think that what are the biological things that affects the pelvic floor muscle and makes it weak. First and foremost, change the slide. Yes. First and foremost is the pregnancy and childbirth. Statistics and research articles shows that the female have a weak pelvic floor as compared to that of the male. We know that the female has to pass through the whole of the journey of hormonal changes at different stages of their life. Because of the effect of the hormonal changes, the property of the muscle is different as compared to that of the males. So that is the one reason. Second foremost reason are the changes, biological changes that happens in a female body. So most important change is the pregnancy. As we know that during pregnancy, there are various changes taking place in the body. The joint becomes lax, the muscle has to be relaxed in order to provide the space for the growing uterus. So, as we can see in the picture, because of the growing uterus, it will produce an extra pressure or we can say extra stress over the pelvic floor muscle. The pelvic floor muscles are same as other muscles, where the elastic property will tend to lose if the muscles remain stretched over the long period of time. So that is the one reason that the pelvic floor muscle undergoes weakness in the females. Second is training in the toilet. The patients that have the tendency or they have the history of constipation for the longer period of the time, because of the continuous training every time they visit a washroom, due to that the muscle will undergo micro traumas, and because of that the muscle will become lax and lose its normal elasticity, resulting into weakness. The third one is the chronic coughing. Patient with a history of disease like COPD, where the patient has coughing for a longer period of time. What happens? Whenever we cough, there is an increase in intra-abdominal pressure. Because of increase in intra-abdominal pressure, it will exert a pressure over the pelvic floor muscle, result into the weakness. Lifting weights. Workers who have the job of lifting heavy weights, or we can say the homemakers, our mothers, who work in the kitchen and have a habit of lifting the heavy weights continuously. Because of that also, the pelvic floor muscle may undergo weakness. Age-related atrophy, the muscle get atrophied and may result into weakness. Obesity, because of the extra weight over the abdominal region, what happens? It will exert a pressure downward toward the lower back. The lower back initially would take the weight, but as the weight has to be taken for the longer period of time, what the lower back muscle will do? It will exert the pressure over the pelvic floor. Because of that, the pelvic floor muscle may undergo weakness. Gymming. This is the most common type of pelvic floor muscle we see in our daily practice. Usually, whenever we go for the gym, the trainer asks the client to do any kind of exercise with holding the breath. So the general instruction that goes are lift weight, hold your breath, put the weight down, and then relax. So in whole of the process, what we are doing, we are holding the breath. So the intra-abdominal pressure is more. More intra-abdominal pressure will exert a pressure on the pelvic floor muscle. So this in result will lead to the weakness, because we never give any importance, or we are not aware that these muscles are also need to be strengthened and they are also to be worked out. So this muscle over and above is somewhere very much missed during our protocols also, and even in our mind. We never think that these muscles are also so much important and they need to be trained more. Now, if we suppose that patient sits in one of the criteria and patient have a weak pelvic floor. Now, what happens if the pelvic floor muscles are weak? Normally, we see in our OPDs, the very common condition is urinary incontinence, or we can say is the urine leak. Urine leak is very much common nowadays. Initially, it was seen only after the pregnancy, but because of our lifestyle and our habits, the prevalence of stress incontinence is increased very much. The urge incontinence is other type of incontinence. We will talk that in detail. Organ prolapse. Organ prolapse is very much common, and I can say second common patients that we see in our OPD. Low back pain. Low back pain is also one of the cause, or we can say weak pelvic floor muscle is one of the reason for the low back pain. We will see the mechanism of it and how it works. Filling of the loose vagina, sexual dysfunction and rectal dysfunction. This kind of patients are not much seen by the physiotherapist, but yes, it has an effect. Weak pelvic floor muscle has an effect on it. Now, the pelvic floor muscle broadly is divided into the two categories. If we take, they are the hypotonus or the hypertonus. Means either the tone is less or the tone is more. As you can see in the picture, that it is just a visual image for us. Comparison has been done with a hammock. The first figure shows the toned hammock. The second is the droopy pelvic floor. So these are the muscles which has undergone weakness and they fall under hypotonus category. So conditions like incontinence, organ prolapse fall under this category. Hypertonus or taut pelvic floor means the muscles are very much tight because of the posture, or we can say because of their position. In this condition, usually these patients have sexual dysfunction, painful intercourse, or difficulty in penetration. The common OPDs that we see is for the hypotonus thing. Now, what do you mean by hypotonus? Hypotonus means the pelvic floor muscle has undergone very much of the weakness. So, they are not able to perform the particular function for which they are designed. So, first and foremost condition that we see in hypotonus is the urinary incontinence. Urinary incontinence basically is a leak of urine during the activities wherever there is an increase in intra-abdominal pressure. For example, we can say laughing, sneezing, running, jumping, lifting heavy weights. You must have heard around you, commonly the people say that whenever if they go to doctors with a chronic cough or something, they will say, डॉक्टर साहब इतनी खांसी होती है कि कभी कभी यूरिन पास हो जाता है. What is that? It is not because the cough is so severe. It is because the pelvic floor muscles are very much weak and they are not able to maintain the closure of the opening, the sphincter. They are not able to hold the sphincter tightly whenever the pressure is exerted on it. To my surprise, when I started to search for the urinary incontinence and started my deep study, I found that statistics suggest that 3 out of 5 females are suffering from urinary incontinence. So that is the prevalence, that huge is the prevalence of the incontinence. Such patients are very much disturbed psychologically and they are more sufferers. We can say that silent sufferer, because see, these are the topics which people don't talk openly with anyone. And because of the lack of awareness, people are not knowing that there is a physiotherapist who work in this field, particularly the pelvic floor, and they can help us. The last choice of option they have is to go for the surgery and to have a round ring around the sphincter in order to control the urine. Initially that was practiced, but now with awareness and even gynec are supporting for the patients to undergo the pelvic floor rehabilitation if the urine leak can be controlled by strengthening the muscle. So that is the thing, that nowadays things have been changed. Initially, the urinary incontinence was seen only after the pregnancy or postpartum. You must be hear sometimes that mothers are talking with each other. They say, "Okay, after delivering my second son, I have got this problem. Since then, I am suffering." So what is that? That is after the pregnancy, the female has not undergone the strengthening of the muscle which she should have gone earlier. So she is suffering since then till the age, till 50s, 60s, till she lives. So that awareness has to be brought by a physiotherapist, that no, the body needs to be recovered and body needs to be toned for the muscle after delivery and even before delivery. Can you play that video for me? I have a short video to understand about what the urinary incontinence is and how it basically occurs. So whenever a person goes for the stress activity, there is a urine leak. So these are the pelvic floor muscles. So the basic function is to hold the urine whenever there is an increase in intra-abdominal pressure. But due to weak muscle, whenever the pressure is exerted, there will be a urine leak. So this is basically a stress urinary incontinence. We also see the patient, or we find a patient with a history that some of the females have a more tendency to urinate during night. That is called as the nocturna. In all this condition, the basic approach that we go for is for the training and strengthening of this muscle. And in case of nocturna, we go for the additional bladder training along with the strengthening and re-education of this muscle. Slide start kar do na. The second common second common condition that we see in the hypotonous pelvic floor rehab is the organ prolapse. Organ prolapse is the drooping down of organ from its normal position. So why this occurs? The muscles, the pelvic floor muscle will undergo the weakness that they are not able to, they are so weak that they are not able to hold the positions of the organ. So the organs with age and the pressure from the above tends to descend downward. These conditions are usually seen in late 50s. Depending upon the organ that prolapse, the organ prolapse is divided are of three types. If the urinary bladder descends downward, it is called as a cystocele. If the rectum part descends downward from its normal position, it is called as a rectocele. And if the uterus or the vagina descends downward, it is called as a uterine prolapse. Usually, grade 1 and grade 2 prolapse are very much shows good result with the pelvic floor rehabilitation. But the grade 3 definitely requires surgery followed by the rehabilitation because the pelvic floor muscles are more cut and they are more stretched during the surgery. So even post-operative, after the organ has been put back to the normal position, the gynec advises for the pelvic floor rehabilitation in order to strengthen the muscle and to maintain their position. Next slide. Usually these patients come with the common complaint like commonly the people say that मैम जब भी मैं नीचे बैठती हूँ ना तो मुझे लगता है कि कुछ नीचे की तरफ आ रहा है. So they have a sensation that something is dropping down whenever they squat or whenever they perform activity. Cross leg sitting भी करते हैं. Anything with a open base of wider base of the support will have the patient will have this sensation. That is one. Some of the patient may have a complaint if the prolapse is just grade 1. Some of the patient may feel little bulge. They will feel the bulge or something is popping out around the pelvic region. So that is one of also the sign for the organ prolapse. Next slide. Your sexual function or sexual sensation has been reduced in such cases, and the intercourse is very much painful. The first two symptoms are very common that the patient can say openly to a physiotherapist, and it would be easier for the patient also to explain us that what basically the patient is suffering from. Now, we saw about the conditions that we commonly see and how to cope up with. For the organ prolapse also, we will go for the strengthening of the pelvic floor and re-education of this muscle. Moreover, some of the postural changes, or we can say as the adaptations are to be made by the patients, and we give that to the patient how to sit, how to squat. All the activities are done according to the requirement of the patient. Now, pelvic floor rehabilitation is, if we see, is broadly divided into two. That is the invasive pelvic floor rehabilitation and it is a non-invasive pelvic floor rehabilitation. In non-invasive pelvic floor rehabilitation, the therapist will just observe the patient and ask the patient to perform the exercise. Till now, till when all physios are students, if we hear the pelvic floor, we have only just one thing in mind, that is the Kegels exercise. But no, if we go into the deep, the pelvic floor has many more approaches other than Kegel. And as we have practiced Kegel or we have shown the patient, what happens? We tell the patient understand, do not understand, and patient will perform always exercise wrongly. Because either the other muscles get contract or the patient will get conscious. So, in order to avoid that, there is another approach for the pelvic floor rehabilitation, that is the invasive pelvic floor rehabilitation. In this approach, the physiotherapist will transvaginally assess the patient and check for the strength of the individual muscle and train the muscle according to the requirement. So now, how the patient will know that whether her pelvic floor muscles are weak or not? As I talked earlier, that this topic is not much like talk between the people. अगर किसी को low back pain है तो एक दूसरे को बताएंगे कि हाँ मुझे भी कमर में दर्द है, मुझे भी घुटने में दर्द है, तू कहाँ गई थी, तूने क्या करवाया, तुझे आराम कैसे मिला? That all is a normal conversation that happens between the females or in our society. But these are the topics I think which are very much less taught. Or kabhi kabhi to we have seen patients that even their partners, even the husbands are not knowing that she is suffering from such condition. So it is very difficult for a patient to come visit a physiotherapist and to talk an unknown person regarding all such problems. So the counseling is very much important for the initially, because once the patient will start feeling comfortable with you, the patient would start to share things, or else that is not going to happen. So if how the patient would know, or we can say how patient can come to us. So there are some of the alarm signs which we can say that the pelvic floor muscles are weak. First and foremost is, as we seen earlier, urine leak during activities like running, like running, coughing, sneezing, wherever there is an increase in intra-abdominal pressure. The second, failing to reach the washroom. Patient do complain कि मैडम मुझे वॉशरूम जाना है, मैं जाती जाती हूँ तब तक यूरिन लीक हो जाता है. So what is that? That is because of the weak pelvic floor muscles that are not able to contract and hold the urine. Some of the patient may also have a complaint that whenever they are in a stress, there is a leak of urine. So that is also the one such sign where their muscles are weak and they are not able to withstand the intra-abdominal pressure. So these are the alarming signs which are to be explained to the patient that अगर आप में से इनमें से अगर आपको कोई भी चीज हो रही है, that means you have a weak pelvic floor muscle. Now, let us assume that a patient is having a weak pelvic floor muscle. Suppose patient is having urine leak during coughing, let's say. So now it has been confirmed that the patient is having a weak pelvic floor muscle. Now, how to assess it? Assessment is a very subjective, but it also has a two part. The first assessment is a self-assessment. That awareness has to be brought by a physiotherapist in the society that what is normal and what is abnormal. So to check the strength of the pelvic floor muscle, ask the patient, whenever your bladder is full, visit a washroom, empty bladder half away, and then ask the patient to contract, give a very strong contraction and to stop the flow of urine. Hold for a 5 count and then relax and empty the rest of the bladder. So what you are doing in this condition, whenever you contract, the pelvic floor muscles are being tight and they will close the opening. If the patient is able to achieve that and there is no further urine flow, what it means that the patient has a good pelvic floor muscle strength. If the pelvic floor muscles are weak, then the patient, whenever the patient will try to contract the muscles, what will happen? The opening, there will be a little opening and there would be a urine leak. Urine leak can range from few drops of urine to complete unable to control the urine. Depending upon them, the gradings are done according to the urine flow that the patient has. So depending upon that, we can know that whether the patient's muscles are too weak or they are just a little weak. Another procedure is that the therapist will transvaginally enter the vagina and check for the strength of the pelvic floor of the whole of the muscle. So this was the assessment part for the pelvic floor muscle. Now let's see. Now this is the basic idea about what pelvic floor muscle are and what is how important it is and how to assess it. Now, if you are not a pelvic floor practitioner, but you are going to see normal patients in your OPDs, so let's say if what are the effects or where other ways the pelvic floor approaches can be applied. First and foremost that we are going to talk about is a pregnancy. As we talked earlier, that during pregnancy, the various biological changes happens in a female body. So, as we can see in the figure, the blue line over the below is for the pelvic floor, and the upper line is for the diaphragm. We talked earlier that the diaphragm works in the direct proportion with the pelvic floor muscle. Now, the function of pelvic floor muscle will change according to the time of the pregnancy. Initially, during the first trimester, the function of the pelvic floor muscle would be for the first and the second trimester, the function of pelvic floor would be to contract and to maintain the position. As we saw earlier, that the one function is to maintain the organ in its normal position. So whenever the uterus is growing, the muscles will contract tight and try to hold the position of the uterus. Now, during labor, throughout the trimester, the muscle has to be contracted. Now, during labor, the scenario will change. Now, during labor, delivery has to be done. So, what will the muscle do? The pelvic floor muscle will start relaxing in the third trimester because it has to stretch a lot in order to provide the birth canal. So, ideally, it has been said that the pelvic floor stretches up to 300 times in order to deliver a baby. So you can imagine that if we are a rubber band, simple rubber band, if we are stretching it to 300 times, what will be its position after it is happened? So the muscle will undergo so much of weakness and muscle will literally become lax. So it has been told that after pregnancy, the exercise is very much important in order to tone up the muscle. If the muscles remain lax after the pregnancy, 80% of females are found that they are suffering from varying degree of urinary incontinence. So, during antenatal exercise, it is very much important for a physiotherapist to strengthen the pelvic floor muscle because the muscles are going to be under weakness in the last stage. So, in order to prepare the body to get ready for the pregnancy, the pelvic floor muscles are very much important. We must have heard somewhere in some of the cases we say that stitches are taken from the down because the baby was coming downwards from its normal position. Why it happens? It is because the pelvic floor muscles are very much weak. Nowadays, the scenario has changed and it has become, we can say, bad as compared to earlier. We see in our OPDs even a young girl of 20 years old having urinary incontinence. Urinary incontinence at such an early age is very much harmful to her body because the body has to undergo all these biological changes. So it is very much important to strengthen this muscle and to look after this muscle because these muscles are very small muscles, and we know that the small muscle takes longer time to get strengthened and longer time to get isolated for the movement. So care has to be taken during antenatal exercise, as well as those who are pregnant at any of the trimester. They have to undergo for the pelvic floor muscle strengthening in order to have a healthy postnatal life. We talked about pregnancy. Now let's talk about the posture. As we know, posture affects all the parts or all the pains of the body. The same happens to the pelvic floor. Whenever there is a good posture, there is an equal tension in all the muscles of the body. So the body is well balanced and the forces acting on the body are also balanced. As we can see in the figure 1, the force exerted, the intra-abdominal force exerted by the body is equal to the force, or we can say the gravitational force acting from downward. So the force is being neutralized and the body is completely well maintained, and the shape is also, all the curves are well maintained. Now, if the person has a poor posture, what happens? The intra-abdominal force will exert over the abdominal region, and from there it is exerted on the pelvic muscle. So this depends upon the tilt. If we talk about the tilt, now we consider this as a pelvis. Now what happens if the pelvis goes for the excessive anterior tilt? What will happen if this is a pelvis? The muscles are like this way, right? They are like this. Now, if the pelvis go for anterior tilt, the muscle will get closer to each other. The muscles which were like this have now got very much close to each other. If the muscle remains in this position for the longer period of time, what it will happen? It will undergo contraction. It will undergo tightness. So, such kind of patient will present hypertonous kind of conditions where there is an excessive anterior tilt. If the patient has an excessive posterior pelvic tilt, what will happen? The muscles which are in normal position will move away from each other and they will get stretched. Because of remaining in the continuous stretch position for the longer period of the time, what will happen? The muscle will undergo weakness. So, during treating a patient for the pelvic floor, it is very much important to know what is the posture of the patient and what is the position of the pelvis. Because the pelvis, attachment of all the pelvic floor muscle is around the pelvis. So, movement of pelvis will have an effect on this muscles. Now, let's talk about breathing. As we talked earlier that the breathing has a direct relation with the pelvic floor. Now let us know how. So during the normal breathing, whenever we take a deep breath, the diaphragm will descend downward. So it will exert a pressure on the abdominal muscle, resulting into increasing intra-abdominal pressure. Now the organs, because of the pressure, will descend little down from its normal position, and the pelvic floor muscle will relax. Now, whenever the diaphragm will descend downward, the pelvic floor muscle has to relax to provide space, क्योंकि बहुत compact सब चीजें उसमें है, तो it has to give space in order to maintain the position or to maintain the pressure. So when the organ descend downward, the pelvic floor muscle will relax and provide the space for the organs. Moreover, at the same time, the pelvic floor muscle has to take care कि वो बहुत नीचे तक ना आ जाए. It has to prevent the organ prolapse. So during inspiration, the pelvic floor muscle has two functions: to provide the space for the organs to come down, at the second to hold the organ at the position. Now, during breathing out, what happens? The diaphragm will move upward. At the same time, the pelvic floor muscle will contract. It has to contract and it will push the organs to its normal position. So, whenever the diaphragm descends downward, the muscle has to relax. And whenever the diaphragm comes upward, the muscle has to contract. So, this is basically the action of both the muscles during breathing in as well as the breathing out. Now, this was for the breathing thing. So even when you are doing any kind of breathing exercise, care has to be taken that there should be involvement of the pelvic floor muscle, and need to check that whether in some of the cases, if the patient has very weak pelvic floor, the patient may have a complaint of urine leak even during breathing exercise, heavy breathing exercise. So that care has to be taken. Let's talk about the core. Nowadays, the world is going crazy for the Pilates thing. So this is the another image where you can see that the breathing, whenever there is a relaxed breathing, the pressure exerted from all the sides is well balanced. But whenever there is a breath holding, as we talked earlier, that during lifting heavy weight, the trainer asks the client to hold the breath. So what they are doing, they are exerting extra pressure over the pelvic floor muscle, which will result into the weakness. Now let's talk about the core. Nowadays people are going crazy for the Pilates. सब जगह पे Pilates studio खुले. They are talking core, tighten your core, tighten your core. Even during physio we say activate your core, activate your core. So what basically the core is and which muscle composite or makes the core. So basically the pelvic floor, we can say the Pilates work on the four principle. Involvement of all the four muscles, which are multifidus that provide stability to the back or support the back. Anteriorly, it is the transverse abdominis muscle. Superiorly, it is the diaphragm. So breathing is very much important during a Pilates. And you can say inferiorly, they are the pelvic floor muscle. Whenever we perform any of the Pilates or visit any of the studio or we see the videos of the Pilates exercise, they activate the core, and along with them they incorporate the breathing. But the muscles that has been forgotten are the pelvic floor muscles. No one talks about strengthening of pelvic floor muscle even in the Pilates when it is a basic muscle to be strengthened. Whenever we take or we start with the core muscles, they will say yes, indirectly the pelvic floor muscles are trained. But no, muscles are very much small and they require direct training in order to strengthen them. Indirect effect would not have any of the effect on the pelvic floor muscle. So even during core training, or you can say that being a physiotherapist, it can be a plus point for you, that whenever you are asking the patient to perform any kind of Pilates or core exercise, ask them to activate or incorporate the pelvic floor muscle. It will help to improve the result. Moreover, it will help to maintain the position of the pelvis, and it will provide proper, or we can say good support to the back, and avoid any kind of injuries during any of the postures or exercise. So low back pain. Low back pain is very common that we see. We can say the most of the patients that we see in the OPDs are of either knee joint or for the back joint or for the back. Now, if we talk about the low back pain, whenever we see the patient of low back, where once the patient has taken us the treatment for 10-20 sittings, the patient is fine. And after 1 or 2 months, the same patient comes to us telling that, ma'am, मुझे अभी वापस pain हो गया है. So what goes in our mind? Okay, you must not have done proper home exercise, or you must have lifted some weight wrongly, so you are having a low back pain. That could be the reason. But one possible reason that are missed on the side of a physiotherapist is the pelvic floor muscle. As we talked earlier, that the pelvic floor muscles are attached at the tailbone. So the pelvic floor muscle plays an important role in providing the lumbar stability. So it is very much important that whenever we are seeing a patient of low back pain, the pelvic floor muscle have to be taken care of. In our OPD, when we assess the patient for the low back pain, sometimes it happens that the patient has a very good contraction of the lower back, or during on the biofeedback, it shows a good pressure from the lower back muscle. But the patient still complains of the low back pain. It is because the pelvic floor muscle are weak. What happens? Whenever the pelvic floor muscles are weak, it will exert the extra pressure over the lower back region. It will give up. वो बोलेगा कि बस इससे ज़्यादा I can't take weight. Lower back, you take the weight. So what happens? The lower back will take the extra weight on it. Once the muscle also give up, what it will do? It will again exert a pressure on the pelvic floor muscle. So the vicious cycle will continue to go on. So it is very much necessary that whenever we are treating a patient of the low back, both the muscles, the pelvic floor muscle as well as the lumbar muscles, are to be taken care of. And both the muscles have to be made, has to be strengthened and re-educated in order to get a good coordination of the muscles during any of the activity. So this was basically regarding whole of the pelvic floor. I would like to share one of my patient with you all, that the condition, or we can say the things are so vulnerable out there that patients are not even aware of their own body. I had a patient, she was a young girl of 23 years old, and she was suffering from urinary incontinence since she was 19 years old. So when she came to my OPD, I asked her that you had this condition since 19 and you are visiting me at this age. So what you were doing this year? So she told that whenever I had the problem of urine leak initially, I had talked to my mother, because the first thing to share is the mother. So she told that I had shared this to my mother, and my mother told that no, it's fine, it is normal. I am also suffering, so you are also suffering. Being a girl, you have to suffer, and it is the normal biological thing for all of us. Now, due to this misconception in her, initially she just had urine leak during jumping activity. But at the age, because of stretching this for so many years, the urine leak has increased so much that she had to change 6 to 7 panties a day. Even when she came for treatment to me on 2 vehicles, from home to here, it was just a 10 minutes run, and even in that she had to change her clothing before going for the exercise. So that is the thing. Now here there is no one to blame. The mother was not aware about this condition, and she was not aware that no, there is a physiotherapist specially for this, and they work on this thing and they produce good result. So she was not able to guide her daughter. And similarly, because the daughter did not know anything, she had worsened her own condition. So it is very much important for being a physiotherapist and being in a medical field, then all these small things are to be spread in the society that no, these conditions are not normal and there are people out there who are helping for this and you should contact them. So that is the thing. It being a physiotherapist, it is our responsibility to spread this word. So hope that you have got the whole of the review of what I wanted to share with you, and I hope that you would carry this further. Consider this as one of a very interesting field, or we can say a field that only limited physios are in. If we go for the ortho and neuro thing, there are number of physios who are working in that field, or even today we have a trend that if we want to go for masters, we go for ortho and neuro. This field is not very much explored. So I would recommend you that follow this field, take interest in this field. It is a very beautiful journey, and yes, we produce good result. We can say along with that, we also get appreciation from the gynecs that no, this thing is working and it is worth giving for the patient. So that is one thing that a physiotherapist need, or we can say kind of an achievement for a physical therapist, that they are able to help in the conditions where gynec are not able to help, because they will just prescribe the medicines. But the muscle work, wherever the muscles comes, there is the role of a physiotherapist. So understand the role of a physiotherapist and try to spread as much as you can that these conditions are not normal and they require treatment and they can be treated. So from my side, I end the session here. Thank you so much. So any questions further from your side?
I request, thank you, ma'am. It was really an informative session, and now I request the participants, those who have doubts, you can text the doubts in the message box. We are open to questions now.
So everyone is clear about what I said. It was in such a simple language.
Ma'am, we will wait for a couple of minutes for the questions if there are.
Other than
Ma'am,
yes.
so there is a question walking out from Karishma.
Yes.
She is asking whether, other than Kegel exercise, which other exercises can be prescribed?
Karishma, it depends upon whether the muscles are weak. As we talked earlier, that assessment has to be done. And for the strengthening of the muscle, we go for the visual feedback exercise, in which we ask the patient to place the mirror above around the pubic area, and make the patient understand that what the isolated contraction of the pelvic floor looks like, and ask the patient to perform it. Initially, क्या होगा? Whenever we ask the patient to perform the exercise, the patient will usually use the inner thigh muscle or they will use the glute muscle. So one thing we can do is that, which I usually practice, a very simple thing is ask the patient to place her own feet or own hand in the pelvic region and ask the patient to feel the contraction. Once the patient is able to feel the contraction, the patient will be easily able to do the exercise. And that contraction exercise can be done in different postures over and above the Kegel, and we can go for the visual exercise. We can also go exercise along with the activity. Ask the patient to sit on the physio ball and place like a napkin over the physio ball, and ask the patient to try to lift the towel towards it, or to simply draw your uterus upward and inward. So these are some simple instructions that we give to the patient. Other than Kegel exercise, we ask the patient even to incorporate breathing along with the pelvic floor exercise, because it shows good result and it is very much effectively.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. The next question is also the same, ma'am.
Yes, the same from the Kegel.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just wait for a minute, ma'am, if somebody has any questions.
Yes, we can even go for the transvaginal exercise. What it has to be done, that physiotherapists who are trained for the invasive rehab, they will insert the finger into the vagina and check. There is a whole round clock that we have for the assessment. and depending upon the clockwise position, we check for the strength of the individual muscle. And then what we can do is place your finger over the muscle which you feel it is weak, and then ask the patient to contract that muscle. When you will give a visual, or we can say the touch sensation to the patient would be able to understand more, and patient would be able to contract and isolate that particular muscle. But again, that has to be done only by a invasive practitioner. If you are a non-invasive or you are a general physiotherapist, you can go for the other kind of approaches that we talked earlier. But if you are invasive, you can do this kind of exercise. Is there any specific lying position to be taken care for pelvic floor dysfunction? Yes, it is a very good question actually. Usually these questions are not asked very often. So whenever the patient, it depends upon whether the patient has a hypotonus or the hypertonus. If the patient has a hypotonus pelvic floor, so already the organs are descending downward. So in that case, what we do, we place a wedge and ask the patient to sleep in this position. So the head is here and the legs are here. So what we are doing, that आधा काम तो हमारा यही हो जाता है, that because of the gravitation, what will happen, the pelvic floor which was initially dropped down is lifted up. So the organ will, because of the gravitational force, the organ will move some part, some percentage towards the normal position, and in that position we can go for the further pelvic floor exercise. And in case if the muscles are very much tight, in case of hypertonicity, we usually ask the patient to perform the exercise in sitting rather than in supine position, because in supine position the muscles tend to get more tight and it is more difficult. Even if we ask the patient to abduct the legs, the patient won't do it, because the muscles are so tight that even the inner thigh muscles have been involved for the longer period of time. So for the hypotonus, this position is usually asked the patient to take, and for the hypertonicity, we go for the sitting exercise. For the PFM training, the ideal protocol depends upon whether the muscle is hypotonus and hypertonus. It will go in this way. First and foremost is the counseling of the patient, how to counsel the patient.
Thank you, ma'am.
When the patient feels comfortable.
And we have another question.
Then second thing is we go for the assessment thing. I am going for the whole of the protocol, how we usually practice like OPD. The first and foremost we talked is the counseling of the patient. Second is an assessment to know whether the muscles are hypertonus or hypotonus. Depending upon them, we will go for the exercise. Initially 1 or 2 sessions goes just in explaining the patient कि ये मसल कहाँ होता है और उसका काम क्या होता है, because it is very necessary to educate the patient for this muscle, because it is not visible for a physiotherapist also and for a patient also. So if we ask the patient कि ankle up down करो, तो patient knows कि ये movement हो रही है, but for the pelvic floor the patients itself are not aware. So initially education of the patient is very much essential, कि उसको बताओ कि नहीं ये मसल ऐसे काम करता है, देखो आपको फील हो रहा है, ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो रहा है. So that can be done by the visually or touch, which I talked about. कि ask the patient कि वो खुद का ही हाथ अपने pelvic region पर रखे and ask them to contract it. Once patient learn the feel, patient को अगर पता चल गया कि क्या feel होता है और क्या muscle contract करना है, then it becomes very easy for a physiotherapist to incorporate other activities along with the pelvic floor. So we go like this. Once the patient is aware for the what muscle are it and how to contract it, and then we progress to the progressive exercise for the pelvic floor muscle. For the hypertonicity, the muscles are very much tight. Patient hypertonicity में patient की complaint होगी कि even during passing the urine or during passing the stool, patient feels pain. वो फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट है. सेकेंड, ये यूजुअली दिस पेशेंट आपको पोस्चर से ही पता चल जाएगा. यूजुअली दिस काइंड ऑफ पेशेंट विल हैव अ वेरी कॉन्शियस पोस्चर, टाइट पोस्चर होगा, एंड जब वो चलेंगे ना तो मसल्स वुड बी, दे वुड हैव अ काइंड ऑफ सीजरिंग बीट, because the adductor muscles are so much involved and these muscles are also very much tight. And during first 3 to 5 session, patient would not even allow you to touch her thigh. So muscle इतना tight हो चुका होता है and patient gets very much conscious. So this all are the we can say alarm signs. They are not any कहीं पे टाइप किए हुए नहीं है, but this all are the signs that we pick up from the patients from our experience. कि हाइपरटोनिसिटी का अगर केस है तो दिस वुड हैव ये सारी साइंस इसमें से कोई भी एक साइन पेशेंट को होती है. But believe me, a hypertonicity case is very rare to see because such patients are not much aware and they are not much even referred because more of a physiotherapy is initially they require more of a psychological counseling. But yes, we do see the patients, and in this case, relaxation of the muscles are the main target. So in terms of this, the pelvic floor rehab differs from other rehab where हमारा main target होता है strengthening of the muscle. But in pelvic floor, if the muscles are very much hypertonous, we don't go for the strengthening, we only go for the relaxation of the muscle. So once the muscles are relaxed, the symptom will start to get less and the patient will feel more comfortable and relaxed.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, there is another question from Krupa. What are the causes of weakness in men?
Causes of weakness in men are lifting of heavy weight that we talked earlier, prostate problems, prostate cancer, or age-related prostate problems. In that also, muscle will undergo weakness. Straining in toilet, chronic coughing is also another reason, and gymming. Most of the patient, even in males, the pelvic floor muscles are very much weak, and because of that, the muscle will undergo weakness. Yes, dear. But for the pelvic floor rehabilitation, there are very much specification and there are very much you can say rules for to be followed. In the pelvic floor rehabilitation, whenever we go for the study, the certification are given like woman to woman and man to man. Female pelvic floor rehabilitation tator who is practicing is not allowed to treat a male, and same happens for the male because the parts are very private and they have to be exercised intravaginally. So for the male, they have a different therapist. They are the male pelvic floor rehabilitator, and for the females, it is a female pelvic floor rehabilitator. But the protocols go for the same because the pelvic floor muscles are same in both the genders, and even the weakness will go for the same thing. So the protocol has to be followed same. But yes, there is one rule that male to male and female to female. So that rule has to be followed.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I don't think there are any new questions, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much for being such a patient listener, and I hope you would carry this message forward that ask the patients or ask as many as people around you that if you have such problems, please contact me and don't be a silent sufferer. So this will be a kind of a movement from a physiotherapist to the society that the females should not consider anything happening in their body as normal because usually they avoid it because of the responsibilities and many other things. They say कि चलता है होता है, so that should strictly not to should be accepted being a medical person, and we can start that thing from our home. Our mother is the best example of we can say she will fulfill all the responsibility, but when it comes to her body, she would never take care. So we should start from that, and we should help as much as people out there. And thank you so much once again to the BITS Institute for having me today and having a talk on such a interesting, or I can say such a out of the box topic. So thank you so much to all. I think there are no further questions, right?
Yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Ma'am,
thank you.
that was indeed a very informative and a wonderful session, ma'am. On behalf of the whole BITS Institute of Physiotherapy, I thank you for sharing and creating such deep insights into the field of pelvic floor rehabilitation. Moving to the end of the webinar, I am honored to present the vote of thanks for today's session. On behalf of BITS Institute of Physiotherapy, I thank our founder, president, and chairman, Honorable Shri Jagdish Bhai Patel sir, and our CMD, Honorable Shri Dhruv Bhai Patel sir, and our joint managing trustee, Srimati Kamalben Patel ma'am, for supporting us to organize the session. I extend my gratitude to our campus director, Ms. Hardi Patel ma'am. I also thank Dr. Mehul Jadhav sir, Principal, BITS Institute of Physiotherapy, hand to arrange this session. I also thank Dr. Sarfraz Nawaz Shah sir, Vice Principal, BITS Institute of Physiotherapy, for helping us organize and preside the whole session smoothly. My special thanks to Dr. Avni Madam, HOD Computer Department, for her technical support in this webinar. I also thank Gade Dada, our graphic designer, for his creative work in making the flyers. My sincere thanks to all the faculty members of BITS Institute of Physiotherapy for lending their constant support throughout the session. Last but not the least, I thank and appreciate such great enthusiastic participation in today's webinar. So once again, thanking all of you and signing off with good wishes. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you so